Welcome, everyone. This is the Catalyzing Change Week session. Our title is I Just Need a Connection, the Refugees Teaching Languages Across Borders. So, welcome again to the session, and thank you so much for joining. We will be starting now. So, I want to start by introducing our speakers. We have Aline Sarah, who is the co founder and CEO of NaTakallam. And we also have Ataa Al-Hamidi, who is the Syrian language partner at NaTakallam. They will be leading the session today. So just as general housekeeping for the session, it would be great if you can keep your video on and if you can share your name, what organization you belong to, and if you have any questions, just send it in the chat to us. And if you want to join Catalyst now, we will be sharing the link to our membership form in the chat. So please feel free to do that. So without further ado, I will be now passing it over to our amazing speakers for the day. Go ahead, Aline and Ataa.
Thank you, Meru. Hi, everybody. Um, I suggest waiting 1 or 2 more minutes for a few more people to trickle in. And in the meantime, for those who are comfortable coming off camera and joining, this is a small group, so it's always nice to engage and interact if that's possible. I know it's not always easy, and sometimes people are on the go. And in the meantime, if you can just, as mentioned earlier, share where you're calling in from, what you do, and if you feel like actually, just opening your camera and saying and answering to this question, please feel free to. I will wait until 5 minutes after to start, and in the meantime, I am going to share my screen. Hi, Sylvia. Very nice to meet you. Joining from Italy. All right. I think we are at 5 minutes. Let me see if there's anyone else that needs to be admitted. Nice to meet you, Simeon. Where are you calling from? Where in Africa? Okay, great. Thanks for letting us know. All right. So can everybody see my screen? Ata, can you see my screen? Because you're the person is.
Yeah, I can see
Okay,
this.
great. So hi everybody. It's great to have you join us today. Um, I'm excited to share with you about NaTakallam. NaTakallam is a social enterprise whose goal is to provide income to displaced persons and individuals living in conflict zones. Um, a quick background about myself is that I'm originally Lebanese, born and raised in New York. And I grew up very privileged because even though my country of origin was going through a raging civil war, I was able to grow up in the heart of New York City, safe and away from that violence, because when my parents came to the US, as immigrants, actually, they were welcome. And so they raised me and my brothers safe and away from the violence. That said, that opportunity I had and that my family had now over 45 years ago, pretty much, Such an opportunity is dramatically shrinking, the opportunity for people to recreate their lives when fleeing conflict. And at the same time, forced displacement is exponentially growing. So the background of our work is that more than 120 million people today are uprooted from their homes. Millions of these individuals are struggling to get formally resettled to a country that welcomes them and gives them the right to stay, to work, to restart their lives. Um, and yet, many of them are highly educated and highly skilled. And so, at the same time, compared to 45 years ago, we are living in a very different era, which is the era of the World Wide Web, right? And so we live in the era of the connected refugee, and smartphones, access to the internet are literally lifelines. Um, and so, in this context, we've seen an explosion of everything online, ed tech, and learning. And so one of the things that has really grown is language learning through the digital space, with 1 out of 4 people today considered active language learners. And so it is along those three main tenets that NaTakallam operates in the space of millions of highly skilled, connected refugees and individuals in conflict zones who are highly skilled and educated looking for work. The booming digital economy and the growing demand for language, translation, cultural exchange services, all these services that unite us through language and culture. And so this enabled us to create a very simple, basic win-win solution already 10 years ago, where someone like Ataa, who's a Syrian refugee in Jordan and who you will be talking to directly in a few minutes, well, even though she's not allowed to work in the local economy, through the digital economy, she gains access to income, dignity, a restored sense of purpose, and a variety of soft skills by teaching Arabic to a student like Kate, who's all the way on the other side of the ocean, who might never have the chance to connect with someone like Ataa. And she gets not only that connection, but the affordable, flexible Arabic language practice that she's looking for that has a unique impact, both on her life, but also, of course, on Ataa's life. So from starting with a very focused Arabic language tutoring aspect, so NaTakallam has grown over the years. So we teach now 9 different languages, all through the digital economy, and it is all taught by individuals in conflict zones or people who are forcibly displaced. So we started with Arabic, then we quickly added Persian with Iranian and Afghan refugees, then we added Spanish with Venezuelans, French with Francophone Africans, and so forth. We also brought this program to the school and university space, mostly in the US. So where teachers are teaching a language in the official classroom setting, what we're able to do is people can practice the language with our refugee tutors online, or we also bring subject matter to life where if a professor or a teacher is teaching subject matter related to human rights or the archaeology of the Middle East or the history of a Latin American country, we will also bring in one of our expert tutors who can speak live to that story. Also, they can just talk about their journey as displaced persons with the idea of bringing a sense of empathy and having future global citizens who are in touch with what it is to be displaced and with the ideas of war that go beyond what they will typically hear in the media and in our political leaders' discourse, which today is extremely tainted by negative stereotypes about people fleeing conflict and people in certain parts of the world. We do this as well in corporate settings. And finally, our third main offering is also along the lines of language and through the digital space. We do all types of translation and in-person and virtual interpretation. So since coming to life over 10 years ago, we've worked with 37,000 learners. We've been supporting tutors and translators up to 800 in our roster of professionals who are delivering these services as freelancers. Many of them would not have another way of accessing an income given the setting they are in. And we worked with more than 300 schools and organizational clients. And through our work, our tutors and translators have been able to raise over $5 million in self-generated revenue rather than being passive recipients to aid. So there's a very important psychological impact in the work we do. Being a passive recipient to aid has a very different impact on the psyche of the individual, whereas teaching your story, teaching your language, being face to face with individuals has a extremely powerful impact on the individuals we're supporting, and it also creates understanding and builds bridges between both the individual delivering the service and the person receiving this service. We've listed a few of the organizations we've worked with over the years. And we do, of course, pay special attention to the ripple effects of our work. And what we've noticed is that over 60% of our freelancers report that NaTakallam is their only source of income. One extremely powerful impact of our work is the human connection, the rekindling of a social network for individuals whose network, whose country, everything was completely uprooted, right? When a country goes into war, we all try to find jobs through networking. This is actually a sort of a virtual networking opportunity, and we've seen many of our tutors find opportunities for other small jobs, resettlements, new connections and friendships through the mere interaction of their tutoring sessions. And we've also noted that some of the refugees who've been resettled, when they get resettled, their lives are still very difficult in European settings, in US settings. You still have to learn the local language. You still have to get used to the new setting. And so we've noticed that many of our tutors continue to do NaTakallam to earn income while they are pursuing language training in the local country that they've been resettled to, other educational opportunities, and so forth. And we've also noted that many of them send this income as remittances. So for example, many of our Syrian tutors who might be in Europe, they will send the money to Lebanon, and then that money gets to Syria somehow to support their parents who are still stuck in Syria, which is a country with a massive humanitarian crisis right now. So now, while I can talk about the data and talk about, the impact we're having, nothing is more powerful than hearing about it through our own tutors. So I'm extremely honored and delighted to introduce you all to Ataa, who is one of our Syrian tutors. So she will be telling us about her story. And we really encourage you all to not hesitate to send us questions, to get off camera, to ask Ataa, ask me. This is a very small group, and even if it was a larger group, NaTakallam is all about those informal, intimate conversations that really let us go deep into the subject matter, get to know each other, and get to humanize each other. So Ataa, first of all, thank you as always for being here, and thank you for being a part of the NaTakallam community and one of our amazing Arabic tutors. So can you first tell us a bit about your story growing up in Syria and how your life changed when the conflict started and how you ended up in Jordan?
Yes, so first of all, thank you, Aline, for this beautiful introduction. So as Aline mentioned, I'm Ataa Al-Hamidi. I'm originally from Syria, and of course, I'm a mom of single mom of 4 kids. So about my life in Syria before the war started, I was like any typical student and any typical girl. I was born in a small town near to Damascus. And I had dreams, and I was lucky because I had a twin. I was born with a twin. We shared everything, and I was so happy that time. I had typical life, like any other Syrian girl and student. My passion was about education, about being with books and in the libraries, about everything actually related to education and to books, to reading, and also my hobbies was all the time. Like my friends were telling me that you don't have many hobbies like just reading and begin with books and collect many books and these stuffs. And also before the war started, I was studying in Damascus University in the Faculty of Children Development, and actually I was maybe the disaster started when I was in the third year in my university, when I was leaving my university and crossing the street with my friend when I got shot by the Assad regime, by the military, and because of the war. And here was the beginning of my story. I got shot, and then they had to take me to a hospital and give me like fast surgery. And then my family decided to bring me here to the camp because they decided that there is no safety anymore. And especially because before that they suggested this to come to the Zaatari camp, but I didn't want. I was completely rejecting the idea, and I said I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay in my homeland in Syria, and I want to continue my education in my university. And at that time, I had no choice just to accept the idea and accept to come here to the Zaatari camp, and especially because that time I was not able to talk and even to work for 10 days. So they brought me here to the Zaatari camp to continue my recovery and get my treatment. And here, I started a very new and different life in the Zaatari camp. Everything was different and everything was new for me. There is no houses, there is no buildings, there is no universities. And I started to get my recovery slowly in the camp. They took me to the hospital here in the camp. And then after I started to get my health slowly, I also suggested to get back to Syria to continue and resume my education in my university. But unfortunately, they didn't want to get back with me because they said there is no safety in Syria and you have to stay here until we find any other solution. Or maybe that time, maybe my parents thought that it won't be like this time, huge, very big time, and Syria will be healed in a very short time. So I stayed without any other choice, and then I started to get adapt to this new life and accept the idea of being in a camp and living in a camp. And I wanted to start I wanted to find any opportunity to maybe to help me forget about being a refugee, because I completely rejected the idea and I didn't want to stay like a weak person after I was so special student in my university, after I was so strong. I had my community, I had my friendship, I had my friends and my beautiful life. I found myself like weak person, useless person, and I started to search any opportunities and any solution to improve myself. And here I found here was the way I found NaTakallam. And when I found NaTakallam, of course, I was so happy because I thought maybe it will be a very amazing opportunity to help me connect with the world. Because here in the camp, you can't imagine the way that people live. I was completely maybe isolated of the world because there's more, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was spending most of my time alone because I was a little bit different and I didn't want to be with people who are not educated or who are life in the Zaatari camp had many people and most of them are not educated, and most of them had to stay and to be like this way and this situation. They are not educated. They are have lack of education, have lack of maybe dreams and goals. So that's why I wanted to be a part of NaTakallam, because I thought I will be more connected to the world, and I will find what I lost when I came here to the camp.
So Ataa, I want to go back on a few things that you shared. So often in the media, what we hear is that refugees are desperate to come to the West or to go to another country to take other jobs, and there's this perpetual fear. And it seems like people are talking about leaving home, like people are talking about refugees leaving their home as a choice that's so easy. And what I'm hearing and what you said is that you would, despite being shot at, despite being in what you said, a makeshift hospital, right? Because
Yes,
remind me, because
exactly.
you
Yeah.
shared this with me, you
Yeah.
couldn't even be in the hospital, in the public hospital, right? Because of the Assad regime control on that, and that would put you at risk, right? So you were in a makeshift hospital set up, I guess, by the opponents or the activists, or so those who were resisting the oppression. You were continuing to study, right? Also, people don't always realize countries at war, life continues. People still have to live, and that's how they survive, right? Otherwise, it's too hard, right? So people actually still function. So you, despite all this, when your parents said, let's go to Zatari, in your heart, you still wanted to stay in Syria.
Yes, as I told you, thanks for reminding. I was completely rejecting the idea. Even after I was shot, they suggested that, and every time they say that, I just ask them to forget about this point. I wanted to stay even after I got shot. Like at that time, even I was not able to talk with them. I was just like rejecting by mentioning in my hand, and by using my hand, like I'm not gonna go to the Zatari camp because I wanna fight in my homeland, and I wanna fight for my dreams. My dreams was when I was in my university. My dream was to stay to be a professor in my university, and I was all the time telling my professors that I wanna be your colleagues one day, and I promise. And that's why I really wanted to stay as much as I could. But unfortunately, they decided that because they were right, completely right, because they thought that this is the good choice that we could take for maybe for saving my life. And of
Yeah.
course, because of, like, I want to mention about my passion about education. When I originally when I got shit, when I was crossing the street, I was crossing the street, leaving my university. I want to go to the library to get dictionary, to buy books and dictionary for my French language that time. And even though when they brought me to the Zatari camp, I asked my mom to put my lectures, my documents, my books in my bag, and I brought them here to the Zatari camp because I thought like it won't be like a very long time, and I will continue. I will stay studying and continue my education even in the Zatari camp. Yes.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is, your drive for teaching, for education, that, and also what is interesting is that you're sharing the challenge of being in a setting in Zatari where there's different socioeconomic levels and education levels, right? And of course, one other stereotype we often see about the world, the media, the news, how they talk about refugees is they don't acknowledge that refugees are just like they're, just like any other country. There's people who had access to education, who are very skilled, who have a lot to offer in the more highly skilled labor markets versus those who are more traditional, artisan, farming, etc. And so one thing that NaTakallam really focused on in its mission is going to people like Ataa who had the privilege of having an education, of planning to become an educator, or individuals who had a variety of other professional expertise. And typically, we know that when refugees are uprooted from their home, they lose their opportunity to perform their talent and their skill. They're robbed from a future that reflects their education level. And so and that's one of our, where we're really proud to be able to provide this. And so you're not a professor in Syria, but you're a professor at NaTakallam University, we can say. So Ataa, I
You
want to
know,
talk a little bit. Yeah,
I
sorry.
Yeah, I just want to mention something very important. Because maybe people don't know that I have been working with NaTakallam for almost 5 years, and maybe they don't want the huge like the skills and the experience that I got from my being a tutor with NaTakallam. Now I found myself much better than as a professor in Damascus. Believe me, because I found myself a professional tutor, because I found myself like I'm skillful, and like I really found myself that I got at least this goal, even remotely, even through this screen.
And yes, we're so proud that you found us, because we're lucky to have you on our team of tutors. So Ata, and as you see, Ata is a radiant, smiling woman here in front of us, telling her story, and her survival in the conflict that she emerged from. But Ata, can you also tell us about your personal life? You are a mother of four. Can you tell us about your husband, where he is today, a little bit about your children, how old they are, um, and what happened in your family situation right now?
Yes, of course. So, 2 years, about like 2.5 years before, my husband decided to leave the camp and get to the Europe countries by going to Libya, and then like cross the Mediterranean Sea and go to the like he wanted to find any other opportunity for us to get out of this camp. So he left us to Libya, and he wanted to cross the sea. He wanted to get to Italy and then to one of the European countries. But unfortunately, he left us. He left me as a single mom with four children, and unfortunately, I am the only provider and responsible of them. But like I'm always grateful for NaTakallam, because they are, believe me, they are my only provider, and they are my only home in this life, especially here in the camp. In the camp, you can't, like, guys, you can't imagine the life in the camps, because there is no more opportunities in the camp. You can't find any opportunity easily in the camps. So as I said, I'm so grateful for NaTakallam, because they are my only provider for my income, for me and for my kids and me. And for my husband, yes, he left us and he stayed in Libya for 1 year. He was trying every time to cross the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, but unfortunately he drowned in the sea twice, and he lost two of his cousins in the sea. We are grateful to Allah, because he was survived, and he didn't die. And after that, the Tunisian government took him to Tunisia, and he stayed there for like the rest of this time. And so far, we are separated from him, and I'm, like, as you see, I'm here with my four kids, and he's away of us. He's trying his best to get any other solution, and he's trying his best to like find any solution to get back to us. But unfortunately, it's really hard to get back easily.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, just so for those who might not know, the Mediterranean migrant route is a deadly route that many refugees resort to get to Europe. And if they get to Europe, they hope to claim asylum, to get accepted to live in Europe, where they can eventually restart their lives. And there is an option for family reunification. So often one of the family members, in Ata's case, her husband, tried to make it to Europe, and he got stuck in Tunisia after what I imagine was a extremely terrifying and dangerous journey through Libya, and on the boats and so forth. Some of you on this call might have heard and read about this migrant route. Ata, I also wanted to talk about another opportunity that you had. I know that things have changed since, but I know that one of your NaTakallam students, who is American, worked on getting you sponsored to come to the US. Can you tell us a bit about this?
Yes, I can't. I really want to send on her greetings from this screen, from this event. And I just yesterday I sent her a WhatsApp message and said I really appreciate every time I remember you're trying to get me out of the camp, and I won't forget what you wanted to support me and help me by this way. So she was one of my students by NaTakallam. She was in Texas state, and when I shared my news with her, she wanted to sponsor me and get me out of the camp I don't know if you guys know about Welcome Crew program. So she talked with her colleagues and she brought 5 people from her community, and also she raised the fund to cover the cost for this program, and she really did everything, but unfortunately, you know about the new administration of President Trump, everything was stopped, and he stopped this program. And you can't imagine my situation when she told me that she will help me, and because things were developing slowly, and we were communicating every time, and she made everything, and she created a WhatsApp group for us, for the sponsors, for her colleagues, and we met together, and they were supporting me every day. And the day when she told me that the application is done, I was jumping from my, like, you can't imagine, like, I was so happy that time, and I was like, but you know, every time everything was changed now, and I don't know, like, if we will stay patient here in the camp. And even that, she's still in contact with me daily. But you know, because President Trump had to stop this program, she had to get the money back to the donors, because she mentioned that in the GoFund application, and she did that. And I'm not, of course, I'm not sad. I appreciate everything that she did for me, and not just this student. I really met many students through NaTakallam, and they were completely supporting me. And you know, like, so far, I still a friend of some of my students. Even they left the platform, even they stopped their sessions learning, but they, I want to say that we still in communicating daily, and they still sending me and asking, Ataa, what's going on? Please tell us if you are okay. How's the kids and how is everything? And I'm like, whatever and however I say about this NaTakallam, believe me, it won't be enough to be grateful. I all the time mention that, and I am really so grateful, because what I got from NaTakallam is not just about income and money. I got serious people and kind people who really who deeply feel me, and who deeply supported me. And you can't imagine that someone came from the other side of the world where I'm living, and she says that I want to get you out of the camp, and I want to pay for this. And even, like, you can't imagine the amount and the money that cost for me and my kids. It costs about, like, I really can't remember, but it really costed a lot. And she raised everything, and she was so kind to me. So whatever I say, it won't be enough for NaTakallam. And I really want to mention many opportunities that I got from NaTakallam, through NaTakallam. I shared my story by Refugee Archive program. I don't know if you guys know about this program. It was also another student through NaTakallam, and she shared my story by many platforms through if you can search it, it's named the Refugee Archive. And I also got paid for that. And I also got not two, but 4 amazing friends through this program. Also, I also met 3 of my students in person, and they visited Jordan, and we met in person. Imagine that. So what I can say more than that. I'm really happy to be part of this community.
Thank you, Ataa. I mean, that is, what is the power of the human connection, right? Beyond the income access. And I do just want to recap, again for the audience. So one of Ataa's students had done all of the work to crowdfund for her to then be able to sponsor her to come to the US. And this is it's a private sponsorship. These are systems that do exist in certain countries. I believe Canada was the pioneer of this option for resettlement. And actually, what was incredible is that under Biden, everything was done. Ataa passed the checks. She was approved for resettlements. And the catastrophe of it all is that when Trump came to power, he shut down all resettlement programs, and everything that was done um, lost any value. And so Ataa continues to be a survivor, to have opportunities that sometimes go through, but some that are, with major setbacks. And yet she is still shining and glowing every day. And every time I talk to her, she has this smile on her face.
Thank you so much.
And so I'm not surprised that your students become your friends and want to stay in touch with you. Before I forget, I'm going to quickly just share my screen, focus on my screen again and go back to a few photos that we have. So, Ataa, can you just tell us a bit about these photos?
Oh yeah, these are my beautiful, lovely kids. So in the right side, you can find me and my old daughter Shada. And it was before I prepare her for her school and she leave, like we say goodbye and these stuffs. And in the middle, you can find my whole four kids. The like Ahmed, the oldest one, Ahmed. He's now 11 years old, and the other one, of course, Shada. And like the yellow one is the yellow dress, a t-shirt, Tala, the third one. And by the way, I want to mention something special about Tala. When I was pregnant in Tala, I was in my the last year of my studying in my university, because I got scholarship here in Zatari camp, and plus I studied in the faculty in Damascus in the faculty of kids development. I also got a scholarship and I studied another field, which is English literature here in the Jordanian University. So when I was in my fourth year, in my last year of my university, I was pregnant of this creature, Tala. And I was really, sometimes I had to suffer a lot, being a mom and a student at the same time when you have exams and being pregnant woman. It was so hard to me, but of course, like I was so patient and I wanted to stay fighting for my life and my dreams and my kids. So yes, and the other one, this one, the last one, the youngest one is Abdulrahman. He's the last one, and yeah, those are the four. And by the way, this is my house. I'm so passionate about growing plants. Even it's not a very huge space, but it's like small space. But I tried my best to find any green color in my house for the view. And the last one here in the street, like next to my house, it was in Al-Eid. I decorated them, and I bought them the new clothes and everything, and they were so happy. But this time, unfortunately, they were it's in Al-Eid. Yeah. My husband asked me and say, take some photos for the kids because he was not with us. And I all the time try to get as like many pictures for them as much as I can.
Yeah, it's lovely, and I mean, I don't know how you do it for kids, in these without your husband in this situation. Really, it's such incredible. You're such an incredible and powerful woman to be able to do this, Ataa. So, yeah, really, congratulations on your achievements as a mother, as a survivor, as a teacher. I would like to open up the discussion and see if anyone has any questions they want to ask Ataa directly, or I'm happy to answer any questions about NaTakallam in general as well. Um, please don't be shy. And if you prefer, you're welcome to also type them in the chat if there's any questions. We have a comment from Kimberly. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Ataa. You are inspirational and incredibly strong. Your children must be unbelievably proud of you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyone else would like to share any thoughts or reflections? Ataa, do you have any questions for the audience?
No, I'm really happy that to be here. I'm really honored to be like. Thank you so much for letting me share my story with you guys. I'm really open to answer any question if anyone has.
So I will wrap up. I'll go towards our final few slides then. Let me just get back to my screen share. So just kind of reflecting on NaTakallam as a social enterprise, Ata's story, a lot of the things she's mentioned. We really see NaTakallam as an organization that provides long-term depth of impact. Looking at Ata's story, so the most obvious immediate impact of our work is that despite being a refugee and the fact that she's so educated, yet we know that in her camp, as she's shared, she cannot access any opportunities in general, and even more so opportunities that reflect her talent and her skills. So she still is able, despite her situation through NaTakallam, to gain the income. And also from an interesting economic perspective, that income, right, Ata, you're spending it in the host country that you're in. So from an economic perspective as well, it's interesting to look at that. So she gets economic empowerment. She's building the community of friends, her restored social capital and network. We talked about this, and she's shared also one of her friends and her students, brought her that resettlement opportunity that would have succeeded had it not been for the change in leadership in the U.S. So resettlement and job opportunities are things we are frequently seeing as a ripple effect of the connectivity and the connection between a tutor and their student. Ataa is able to support her family through the work she does with NaTakallam, and she's also an advocate for refugees, because what we do at NaTakallam is events like this as well, beyond the one-on-one tutoring, bringing their story to communities, to classrooms, to advocate on behalf of refugees, because as many of you must know and hear, refugees are, instead of being lauded and celebrated as heroes, are typically used as a scapegoat for political gain and in a context of rising authoritarianism. So I think this brings us actually to a wrap in our session. If you were touched by what you heard, if you want to stay and learn more about NaTakallam, you can visit our website. You can support Ataa and NaTakallam and the many other refugees and individuals in conflict zones that we are working with by signing up for language classes with NaTakallam as an individual, or consider bringing it to your company, to your school, to your community. NaTakallam works directly with schools, universities, many NGOs. For example, Doctors Without Borders takes classes with NaTakallam for their boat that's in the Mediterranean. They're taking French classes. We work with Save the Children. We have various partnerships for language learning, but also for advocacy, for raising awareness around conflict, forced displacement, migration, like the session today, which also contributes to raising awareness around their stories in more depth beyond the headlines. And finally, NaTakallam does offer translation and interpretation services. Most of our clients are organizations like multilateral organizations like the World Bank, the UN, nonprofits like Kiva, and so forth. The number of incredible tutors and translators who apply to work for NaTakallam is massive. And the only way we can actually give them this work is if clients are hiring NaTakallam. So please, please do spread the word about our work. Please consider NaTakallam for your own organization, for your own needs. The language services we offer are very relevant to both individuals and a variety of organizations that are just operating internationally. So if there's any final questions, please speak them now. Otherwise, I think we can call it a wrap and end it a little bit early. So first of all, my gratitude to Ataa for just being who she is and for being part of our community and for making NaTa kind of shine through your radiance. So it's always great to have you. Thank you so much for Catalyst Now for giving us the space to share about our work. Thank you to my colleague Kelsey, who's been coordinating this. And I think we can end early unless anyone has anything else to add. And so we look forward to connecting with you all in another setting.
Thank you so much, ladies, for this excellent session. I speak for myself, but I believe many others over here as well when I say that it really touched our hearts and minds. So thank you, Ataa, for sharing your story, your perspective, and thank you to the both of you for sharing the work that NaTakallam does. I hope that inspires others here as well. And I see it
Thank
in
you
the
so much.
chat. People really enjoyed this session.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank
Thank you so much.
you.